So our wall louvers are very key when it comes to the intake that's important for the hydrothermal dynamic performance of your building. Louvers are mainly meant for intake. Cool air is heavier, so it's going to settle closer to the foundation, and your louver ideally should be installed as close to the foundation as possible to let that cool air in and force that hot, stale, lighter air out through the ridge vents that are hopefully installed at your ridge. So standard louver sizes come in typically a square footage, either 2 foot by 2 foot, 3 by 3, or 4 by 4. But honestly, you can come up with any size dimension that you need for your project, and we can accommodate it up to about 6 feet. So our louver frames are built very robustly. The frames are made out of 18 gauge galvanized, and the blades that go in between them are made of 20 gauge galvanized material. However, if you're in a heavy wind load area or some part of the country that's susceptible to high winds and damaging storms, we can do a Florida approved option that's a full 18 gauge construction. So our louvers are produced to be self-flashing and self-framing. And what I mean by that is when they're installed into the wall, they will flash around. You don't need any extra pieces or hardware to make that flashing occur. And self-framing means that they can be molded together into a continuous run. So the first two things that are most important to decide is, do I want my louver blades to be fixed in the open position, or do I want them to be adjustable? There's two main types of adjustable louvers. There's our center pivot option, which is a little bit easier to open, but it does restrict the ultimate opening angle of those blades, and you might not get a full 90-degree angle, but that's where our back pivot blade configuration comes in, and that's your second option. If you need to maximize your airflow and really get those louver blades out to the 90-degree angle, however, because of where the pivot pin is, it's closer to the rear of the louver frame, and depending on your size of louver, it can get a little bit more difficult to open. There's a few different ways that you can operate an adjustable louver. Our standard offering is what's called a hand crank, and if you can think about an old window crank that you used to have. But we also offer a pull chain operator. Probably the sexiest, if you wanted to call it that, operator that we have is a motorized option, and it can be linked together into multiple runs and can be open and closed at the flip of a switch. So there's two main types of our louver framing. We call it a type 2 or a type 3. Now what that means to you as the consumer is a type 2 is going to be built to flash directly to an R panel or an M panel or a U panel. And it will terminate at the center point of that major rib so that it gives you a nice snug finish. Our most popular option though is a type 3, which is just a flat 1.5 inch frame flange around the perimeter of the louver, and it's designed to be put into a framed opening. So our quality is top notch in the industry, and standard lead time for a standard louver is going to be 6 to 10 business days, and we're very proud about our turnaround times. And you can match any color wall panel that you can think of, and we can powder and liquid coat those in-house. For more information, please go to our website, mpvent.com.